Okay, that's just showing you the collar, and this is nail accumulation right there. Maybe. There's always the possibility that it's a cuticle. But like I said, it's all the same stuff. It just depends on what uh, stage it's in. It's all dead cells, whether it's firm or whether it's flexible. It's basically all the same stuff. Digging out that corner. It's very, very tight in there. And pull the plug out there. That whole corner is embalmed all the way from here, around in there. That's cemented down, and it's going to pick out, and then it's going to be a big void like that. But it's revealing where it's going. It's cutting. It's going back now, and there in this profile, in this light, you can see the layering. 1, 2, 3 nails, at least, maybe 4, and they're as thin as cellophane. And this is a side nail. It's an over nail, and it's too thick because it's built up out over all that skin, and starts to spread out. And so the nail, which is all the way down here, inside, as the skin builds up, then the nail builds out that way in that dimension on an angle, and it makes for a very thick triangular wedge of nail right there, none of which is supposed to be there. These are simple things that we're not getting right. Worry about health care and insurance and all that. It's stuff like this that's keeping us from living to 110 right now. We're only just now getting to the point where we're have enough food. Have you seen the kids? Have you seen the kids? You're like 6'6". I mean, it's like average. I've never seen gargantuan. I used to consider myself reasonably tall, 5'11". Okay, I'm a pygmy now. I had a restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant, when I lived in Atlanta. It was right up the street from my house, and my house was right next to Emory. And so this girl worked at the Viet Cafe or whatever it was. And I walked in there one day, and this girl is 6'6". And she ain't all that thin either. I mean, she's not fat, but she wasn't, she wasn't some skinny, she wasn't like an olive oil or something. She was a big girl, and she's very, very tall. And I looked at her, and the first thing I thought is, Emory University is right next door. I thought, Emory doesn't have a basketball team. They don't do sports over there. They're about medical research and stuff. So this girl's not here to play basketball. What's the story? And the story is the kids are just that big. You get them over here and you start feeding them real food. Instead of just having, the Irish, just for centuries, the Irish just had potatoes to eat, So they got as big as you get on potatoes. Okay? And you bring them over here and you feed them. And I looked at, there was another guy that worked in that same, this is really funny. You have to be really careful with Americans because, we're from everywhere. And you can't look at somebody and say, oh, where are they from? They're from here. It doesn't care what they look. It doesn't matter what they look like. So I was up there, and I had gotten cup of that Vietnamese coffee or whatever, and they bring out that little thing that you set on top of the cup. It's like a mini drip thing. And I said, "Oh, that's pretty neat." I said, "Where do you get that thing?" And he said, "Oh," he says, there's a place out on Buford Highway that you can get them." And I said, "Oh, tell me where." He says, "Oh, it's kind of complicated." I said, "Well, it's okay." He says, I says, "That's okay. I'm all over that place like a cheap suit. I go in every place. I probably already know. I just didn't. So go ahead and tell me." And he said, "Oh," he said, "I don't know." He said, "I don't really go out there." He says, "Too many Asians." He said, "They creep me out." And I looked at him and I thought, this guy's from California. He just looks Oriental. He's not any more Oriental than I am. You know, his his people came over here in 1850 or something, and he's been hanging out in California. Everybody's not here. I'm not here. I'm not there anymore. Everybody's moving to Atlanta. That's why I had to leave. I'm like Daniel Boone. God, I could see the smoke from my neighbor's campfire, so chimney, and I've got to go. I definitely picked a remote place, that's for sure. I love the West, but I don't like the city. The West is phenomenal. The desert. I came out here the first time I went to Canyon de Chelly. It was just amazing. You don't realize it's like Crystal Springs or something. You're going along in this little houseboat, little glass bottom boat, and you're like, there's grass, seaweed stuff, and little fish swimming around. You go, "Oh, that's neat," and then you shoot out over the edge, and it's 1,200 feet down. It's Crystal Springs, and you see this mastodon down there. That's a skeleton that's been there forever. Fell in the spring and couldn't get out. And I hadn't realized that's what the canyons out here are like. They're sunk in. They're from, it's like Providence Canyon in Georgia. It's from erosion, basically. So you could be flying along like that in an airplane, in a little Cessna, and just shoot out over the edge of a canyon and have it drop out from under you like that, when you had just been looking out at this flat landscape. The West is truly extraordinary. And I sat there and I tried to take a picture, like my collages thing. I was sitting there, I was trying to take a picture from 1,000,000 miles away of Second Mesa, which basically occupies all of northern Arizona or something, or northern New Mexico. And so I'm trying to get a picture of it. And of course it's like a letterboxed CinemaScope movie. It's going to be in a 50 millimeter frame, with a 50 millimeter lens. It's going to be this tiny little stripe right down the middle. We had no panoramic function on a Nikon, so I was sitting there looking at the picture, and I'm looking at this gigantic steel gantry that's right next to me that's carrying the electricity for all of northern New Mexico or whatever, and I started counting the telephone poles, and I could count maybe 7 or 8 of them until they disappeared. They just marched into infinity, and you couldn't. But after a few hundred yards or a half a mile or whatever, however far it was, you couldn't see them anymore. They just disappeared in the vastness of the West. And the other thing that tripped me out was that you can't tell a horizon line. You look out, it's like John F. Kennedy or something when he was junior, when he was flying that plane. He couldn't tell if he was upside down or right side up. It's the same kind of, it's like the clouds and the ocean, it all just merged. But it's out like that. If you look out, you can see the clouds going across the sky, but at the horizon line, it's just mixed. You can't tell the separation line from the ground and the atmosphere and the sky. It's truly extraordinary. is so vast. You can't get a handle on it. Came out right there. And you see how all that junk deforms the nail, too. Some days are better than others. We're trying to get out stuff. Yep, how about that? How about that? It's just dead. Dead chunk. Absolutely frozen. The nail is absolutely frozen there. And the skin and the nail are intermixed and locked together. It's formed that way. When you have all these layers built up, you get a layer of cuticle skin come out over the damage where you've chewed your nail, and then the nail forms out and it comes out over the skin. And so it's interleaved at the front and on the sides here, just like if you are shuffling a deck of cards and you pull it into two halves, and then you shuffle them, but before you shove them back together, it's just like what you get here. You get a layer of cuticle skin, and then it's overlaid by a layer of nail, and it's a layer of cuticle skin and a layer of nail. And so it's all just, it works together to make a mass, and then it builds out further and further and further, and you get a nice nail that's a fake nail on top of all of it, that's one complete nail, and it looks right. But it's not anywhere near a nail bed. It doesn't even know what a nail bed is. Not anywhere close. And all of this is going to come out too. I just don't know if I want it to come out today. You don't want to take out too much, especially if it's going to expose the nail bed. This can be a little dicey. Oh yeah, this is not what you want to do. That's going right down. That's pretty tender right there. Okay. I just pull that, and that just flaked off the side there, down here. Come on now. Go off right there. But this, that's nail. Nail-ish material. Well, I don't know how much we want to do there. You can see that separate. Where all that filler, that's all just filler. It's going to hurt if I pull it out. It goes pretty deep. That will be your swan song. You'll hit things like that, and you'll go, oh, okay, that's about enough. About enough for today. But then on the other hand, you really desperately want it to get going. You can't accelerate the process too much, but you're going to want to keep up with it once you feel like what's going on. It's going to start insisting, you know. It's going to say, you sure would feel better if some of this pressure was relieved. And that's the same thing there. Oops, sorry. See, that's all glued in right there. It's all, see now that, you see how that trapped the nail, and now when that moves out, if this breaks loose and it moves out a little bit, it'll be that big bumpy thing. And then this, whatever's left of the cuticle here, will collapse down on, if not on the nail bed, but on the old stack of nails that are racked out. So this might not fall down on nail bed immediately. All the other nails underneath would have to be out of the way for that to happen. But it will collapse just like these others here. There, that's down, and that's down in the corner there. You see, and this is much projected up. So. Oop, that just fell out. Just fell out. Proving once again that it's dead. It's got to actually turn loose, you know. You've got to, then it's got to turn loose of the nail. And this is solid nail material that's formed in here on the side. I'll bleed myself pretty good if I try to pick that out. Dead skin from right there. Just layered in there. It's just sandwiched in there. Your doctor has no idea. All right? They don't teach this in medical school, or somebody else would be talking about it. I wish somebody else was talking about it. I wouldn't have to do it. But I have a funny feeling that I can actually help a lot of people. If you haven't got a clue yet, get one. They're free. Take one. We're not selling anything. There are no links. I'm not selling cuticle kits or anything. Maybe I could hook up with X-Acto. Sell X-Acto knives. Self-surgery center stuff. If you have any doubts about your ability to do this without doing harm, don't, you know. But I'm a very manual person. Once I started to figure this out, I got bolder and bolder what I was willing to do. And it helped that I thought it was going to be quick and easy in the beginning. I thought we'd be done, but way before now. And all of this right here is probably where I just bit away, trying to get something, you know, a piece of nail, and pull it out of the nail bed. And it might still be there. It might just be embalmed down there in that corner. We won't know till we get there. This is skin. This is not nail right here. It's skin that's laminated up over. And then there'll be some nailish material there. That's nailish material. This is skin. It's impacted skin right there. You'll pull out a lot of that. And then under it, it will be nail, which is not what you're supposed to have, is it? Nail under skin. Nail's supposed to be over skin, right? Something like that. So, let's see what I get here. No, I'm not going to be able to get that. See, that's so tightly sandwiched in there. I would have to be able to pick it up or out somehow to get a hold of it, and it's not going to cooperate, not yet. But in a couple of days, I'm washing my hands and stuff. It'll dry up. Something else will change. I'll be able to get a hold of it, or it'll just pop out. It'll dry up and pop out on its own. I'll be sitting here rubbing my fingers and it'll pop out. And the other thing is I'm old and this just makes my fingers cramp. Holding my knife and working on this like this. So, something else I wasn't really expecting is that I can get to the point where I can't hold the knife anymore. My fingers will actually start to cramp and bow up and stuff. See, that would pick out from under there. Right there. It's just laminated in too tight right now. I don't want to fool with it. It's just as easy to wait. Like I said, you do not have to do it all in one day, and you can't. You're not going to, as much as you might want to, you're not going to. I haven't figured out a quick way to do this. So, dogs have been very, very, very patient. I think it's time to give them a break, and me too. We'll try again later.